Hello guys, you are back with RLM. We are with a set across competizione at Spa. This is round 2 for the Friday guys. Sorry for the technical issues. I hopefully now this stream will at least be running smooth though, or we are not on the official RLM channel. And we're back on my personal channel, so we'll at least hopefully we'll be able to get the race for you guys to watch. I believe we've still got Fabian here with me.
Yeah, hello guys.
There he is. Right, we will try our best to catch up on what information we have now and what positions we've got now. If you could give them a brief order, Fabian, I will get this over to the guys in Discord so they can also see it.
So I just posted your stream. So it looks like that the top tier tire right now because John Frest pitted, and Strelo is doing some great laps there, and Takamaki, who also started on the dry tires, is on second place right now. So it seems like that the dry tires are the best tires for these conditions, and most guys will go to the pits now to change their wet tires for dry tires, because the conditions seem to get a bit better because the racing line is now with all the cars going over.
Well, I was going to just jump over to Takamaki there, as I think we've just seen him in the background have a little off there in the Porsche. I mean, I wonder if that's by choice there, whether he has his lights on or not. They don't look like they're particularly doing much for him. Whether that's a result of the damage from the off he's just had there, or if that was by choice, I'm sure that can't be helping him. As Steve, obviously he was our pole sitter and he started off in P1 and unfortunately, looks like he had a little off early on and he dropped a good 3-4 positions, but he slowly managed to regain those positions and has now, after fighting very hard, got himself back up to P1. And we have Takamaki here, like we say, in P2. Jump down and we've got Tommy here in P3 in the Aston. It's another guy that doesn't seem to either have any lights left or that they're not working. It's interesting to see. I can't expect his visibility is great at the minute. So we're on to Marco here in P4.
Other users on the Discord are reporting that.
Him also, he doesn't seem. I don't know if it's is it just me, Fabian, that see a lot of drivers that don't seem to have any lights on.
Let me have a short.
Let's have a check for P4 Marco, because the Audi, who is very close up behind him, definitely.
Every driver got headlights on.
So when I'm seeing something odd here from Marco on the Porsches, you don't actually see on here the stream that he just got the light reflecting off the road in front of him, where the Audi behind clearly does have. So that's an interesting piece of lighting there. Hopefully these guys can still see where they're going. They obviously can, because they're keeping it on the track. So we're going to go down the order a little bit here. We've got Borica in the Lamborghini here in P6. Yeah, great job of holding off Marcel at the minute here. Has just caught that pass there. Great pass there by Anthony there in the Ferrari. So that moves him up into P7 and that drops Marcel down into P8, although the screen hasn't changed. And we've got Fernando Silva here in P9 and Tiago here in P10. So we're going to jump on board with Marco here, as he's still defending quite hard to Nicholas in P5.
And to give you an update on John Frest, he is actually on dry tires now, so this just strengthens my point that the dry tire might be the best tire in these conditions.
Yeah, has he taken a pit stop, do we reckon?
Yeah, he was in the pits. He is now in 12th position.
So I'd be interested to keep an eye on his lap times. You say definitely a second faster than our leader on that last lap, and with conditions as they are, we might see those lap times by him improve, as that's what we definitely saw on Wednesdays. As all of a sudden, the guys that were on the right tyres at the right time were doing, I believe it was almost 4 seconds a lap faster at one point. And that was how you saw drivers like Chris and Albert make so much ground on the leaders towards the mid and end point of the race. So being in the pits at the right time, change on those right tyres could be crucial, and someone could really find himself benefiting from that. But likewise, if you go early, you're going to find yourself struggling and possibly off track. So we see a lot of the drivers quite spread out at the minute. So we will just stay on board with these two at the minute, as they are the couple of the closest drivers. So jump on board with Vodika here. So still defending here to the. I think that's a back marker. My mistake. Yes, as it is Ben8, who is in behind him in P6. Currently a few seconds behind P5 here, but we have just seen Anthony make a position up to P6, so hopefully we can keep an eye on Antonio and see how much progression he continues to make over the next few laps. Jump on board with Strello. Out front, as we believe that may have been a back marker he'd gone past there, or someone in the pits called me out. So you see timing screens all light up as people go past each other in the pits.
Yeah, we got Nick Dealey in the pits. That was it actually. Nick Dealey seems to be well, the doesn't work really well today. Alright, and McDeely had this one off after the corners after the camera straight, so
yes, we did actually catch that just before the technical difficulties we had. Just as you pointed out earlier, Jean Frest definitely is managing to keep this sort of pace up that he's doing at the minute. He's currently still doing 227 flat, and Strello out front is 227.3, and those two are by far the fastest guys on track at the minute.
Yeah, it's now a race of strategies, so Steve will span out his first stint and wait as long as he can to just drain his fuel and get as light as possible, and he might actually try to save a bit of fuel so that he doesn't have to refuel that much. So that might be his strategy, and he has really good chances to win today.
And that's it, because unlike a lot of tracks, Spa has an unbelievably long pit exit, so the least amount of time you can spend in the pits is going to be really helpful here today.
Yeah, totally. I think you actually lose 1 minute and 15 seconds without the pit stop calculated. So you would have to add another 20 or 30 seconds on that time.
So yeah, an extra
So
5 or 10
that's
seconds
quite
for
a lot.
fuel. That is multiplied by a lot with the speed that the drivers are going around the track while you're coming down that pit exit. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Steve comes out once he takes his pit stop. As he's got the freedom of clean air at the minute, where Jean Frest, obviously, as we jump on board with him, he does have some clean air ahead of him, but he will find that he may catch some of these drivers up at some point, and that will definitely hinder his progress, as Steve won't have that issue at the minute.
Yeah. The back markers. Oh wait, Takamaki is on 10th position now, so it seems that he went to the pits as well. He was, to remind you, he was one of the drivers to wet tire on the dry tire. So he seems to take another strategy in comparison to Steve Strelo, who is on the dry tires. Wants to expand his stint a little bit more, but Takamaki is coming in right now, or I should say he was in the pits and is on 10th place now, and he came out in front of, oh no, behind Alberto Gianfrest. So that position he already gained.
That's it. He's made a great job so far. I mean, his lap time's been consistently low 27s, and he has just now actually dropped into the 26s as well, so he's just picking up pace every lap here, and without having to battle anyone or deal with any back markers, he's really making good time at the minute. And like I say, he's even still taking a little bit of time out of Steve every lap after lap, but you know, we're really hitting the pit stop window now. With we're coming up to half race distance, so we should see lots of the other drivers jumping as well, which may really work out for Jean Frest, as these drivers in front might all suddenly disappear and he finds himself right back up on the top spots, which would be ideal for him if these guys would pit just ahead of him. As likewise, Steve will be waiting as long as possible because he won't want to be dropping himself back into traffic. Yeah, we won't want to have to deal with that, so we may see Steve run quite a long stint before heading into the pits for his pit stop.
So at the moment, the most drivers are doing 2:29 or 2 minutes 30 seconds laps. Apart from Alberto Gianfrest or Ozzy Takamaki, who are clearly the fastest drivers today and in these conditions, and especially Takamaki and Gianfrest will gain a lot of time on the drivers in front of them. So Gianfrest is 10 seconds behind Nico Nellas. So when at this rate, we will get him in 2, 3, or 4 laps.
Yeah, we just jumped on board with Winkler at the minute. So I thought he was battling with this Mercedes here, but it does seem to be a back marker. But I have noticed that the Ferrari of Vodica is not far behind them actually. There, you just see him coming in a shot there. And Vodica's pace at the minute is definitely faster than Winkler. He's pulling in by just under about a second a lap on that last lap. So we could definitely see Vodica is really pushing on at the minute, trying best to catch P2 and hopefully make a challenge for the position in the next few laps. We'll keep an eye on the pace between these two at the minute. We seem to have a very fast back marker in the Mercedes that I think wants to get by, but you have to be very careful unlapping yourself. Of course you can do that, but you can't be impeding the drivers around you. Let's see, that is P12. This is Benzel in P12 in the Mercedes here, behind Winkler. You saw him a very good quality time. I think he was up in the top 5, if I do remember correctly. So he hasn't had such a...
Sorry, he was on P3, and he was one of those guys who started on the wet tires.
Yeah, so whether he's had his pit stop already, and this is why he's further down, or he's had an incident. Unfortunately, we may have missed that with the issues we were having. You see, he's keen to get past here, and you know, with the pace he's showing, Winkler may do better here to actually let him by and get away, but then at the same time he won't want to get held up by Benzel.
Yeah. So it seems like that Benny Benzel did his job as pit stop because he is on the dry tires.
Okay. Again, that last lap, Vodika was almost a second faster that last lap. Really reeling in the Porsche driver here in P2.
Oh, and Benzel just touched Winkler.
Yeah, this is not what we want to see. I think time for Benzel to back off and let these boys fight it out.
Yeah,
as much as he wants to get past, you know, you can't impede these drivers.
Yeah, that's quite a harsh situation he's in right now. He's clearly faster than Winkler, but not fast enough maybe to pull away from Winkler, so...
this is it. Winkler doesn't want to get backed into Vodika, does he?
Yeah. But he clearly is faster and he wants to get in front of him, but he can't because he gets blue flagged all the time.
This is it. If you're going to unlap yourself, you need to be pulling a second to 2 seconds very quickly. Oh, Winkler's
really
gone to come in the pits and wasn't able to because of the position of the Mercedes there. That is so unfortunate for Winkler there. Oh, it's not what we want to see. It's very unfortunate circumstances there. That does promote Vodika up into P2 now. Not the way they would have wanted the position, but sometimes you have to take advantage of these things. So with a fair few pit stops, we're seeing Jean Frest has moved up into P7 now. Still in the 26 on the last lap around, but we've seen Steve has actually upped his pace, and he now is also doing 26. It's actually a 26.3 that last lap around, which is actually 0.6 faster than from Jean Frest at that last lap. So he's actually managing to open that gap up now, which will be important when it comes around to time for the pit stops, because we passed half race now, so it won't be too much longer before we see the last few guys making their pit stops. Jump on board with Fernando Silva here. As again, he's got a back marker up behind him at the minute.
Yeah, that's Benny Benzel, and it looks like that Silva still has to do his... I guess so. And that's just the same situation that we had. Benzel is being held up by Silva, but he gets blue flagged all the time, so he has to be careful to pass this Ferrari, because otherwise he will get the penalty points if he impedes the Ferrari.
Yes, indeed. He's going to be very careful about how he does this. And likewise, like you say, if he has got enough pace to actually pull away from Silver, then he will find himself in the blue flag conditions very quickly, and we'll have to get the position back again. So it's frustrating, of course, for both drivers, but that is how it is.
And Marco Winkler just exited the pit. He's position at the moment.
With Dingage here, it just lets one of the leaders by. I'm getting confused by all the guys in the pits at the minute, thinking that there's a pass about to happen. I will keep an eye on the Silver just to make sure that Benzel is behaving himself.
So at the moment, the two fastest guy is, with no surprise, Steve Strelo and Ozzy Takamaki, who is gaining a lot of time on Nico Nellas. Ozzy Takamaki, he might be one of the get a spot on the podium, like Strelo or Jan Frest, because the guys in front of both of still have to pit, I think. So Anthony Benninate coming into the pits at the moment. So that's one of the guys that have to be in front of Jan Frest and Takamaki, and he's out of the way now.
Yeah,
so Jan Frest just jumped to P5.
Yeah, if Takamaki can deal with Nico Nellis quickly, it's definitely been showing his pace is actually faster than Jan Frest at the minute, so whether he's got time left to actually start to reel in Jan Frest, it could find him on one of the top podium steps towards the end of the day, as obviously we've still got to find out where Steve Strello comes out once he makes his pit stop, which is that's where we really going to see what sort of possible finishing order we're going to see from these guys.
So something's happening on there. Steve Strello's in the pit, so that will be quite interesting where he will come out.
Just as we say
I guess he will come out before Jan Frest because he was lapping so fast lap times. He has to be. Maybe Jan Frest gets in front, so that will be quite interesting. And it looks like that Strelo is now released from the pits, but he's still in the pit lane. He's still
so we're going to say, yeah,
the 50 kilometers per hour.
We're going to jump on with Jan Frest now. He's just coming up past through Blanchimont now, so be interesting to see where these guys appear on track each other. He's still got quite a bit to go here, Jan Frest, but it's a very, very slow pit exit that Steve's got to he's got to stick to that speed all the way up to just the end of Radion.
Yeah, he still has to orbit the 50 kilometers. A really, really long pit straight.
Jan Frest
so forever.
Is now going into turn 1.
9 seconds, 8 seconds, and the 7 seconds gap. So it looks will pass. Yeah. So this will get quite exciting because Strelo was usually the fastest guy on this track. So he should get behind Jan Frest, but it's quite a gap. It's the gap is 15 seconds at the moment, and he has 36 minutes left. So that's roughly half a second in a minute. So he has to gain roughly. That's quite a harsh task, if you ask me.
Yeah, and he just managing to get out in front of Nico there.
Oh, Nico,
as Nico actually spins in the background there. It's a little bit of breathing space for Steve, so he's got plenty of time to really just feel conditions on the what I guess are probably a new set of tyres and a bit of extra weight with the fuel, and then really start to knuckle down and see a what sort of pace he has over Jean Frest in P2 at the minute. And likewise, Tamamaki, we need to keep an eye on him as well, especially with that spin from Nico. We're going to jump over to Tamamaki now. I mean, he's still got a bit of time to make up on these guys.
Right now, our new leader, Libor, is coming into the pits, so he will lose his first place, and he maybe just will lose 3, 4, or 5 places more, so that we get a clean top split there with John Frest, Drelo, and Takamaki. So almost all guys pitted now. So, and Drelo is just about 10 seconds behind John Frest. And now it will be interesting to look at his lap time. As I said, I guess he should be, he needs to be half a second or a second a lap to get on his tail, but that's not everything. He still has to pass John Frest to be on the top position again, and that can be quite hard.
Yeah, it's one thing having the pace over them each lap, but getting past, like you say, that's another thing entirely.
Yeah, exactly, and the guys around Strelo are doing great laps at the moment too. So Taka 27.0 and John Frest with a 27.1, so they are flying right now themselves. So it will be quite a hard task for Strelo.
Yeah, he's definitely got his work cut out, hasn't he? But with just over half an hour left, it's definitely possible for him still to get this top spot.
Yeah, definitely. But it's quite surprising for me because after half an hour, it's the best tire out there, and as we know, Strelo started on these tires and John Frest not. So John Frest really gained a lot of time after he pitted to the dry tires. So his strategy seems to be really on point today.
Yeah, that early mistake from Steve that we saw, he's really going to be kicking himself about that towards the end of this race. Because that at the end may have made the difference between him being able to fight out for P1 today.
And Ray Taylor is coming to the pits. He's in 9th position at the moment, and he just got passed by Marco Winkler. Oh, sorry, he's in 13th position. The plugin just doesn't work very consistently at the moment. But nevertheless, he might be one of the last guys to pit. I'm not quite sure. But there are definitely not many left to pit, because we only have 32 minutes left, so 2/3 of the race are over now. So they are the first lap times. John Frest 6 straight over the 25.7. So he's gaining by 2 seconds.
Yeah, that lap time really shows Steve means business today.
And Takamaki is up this pace too with a 26.4. Maybe he will get to John Frest too, but that will be a quite hard task because he's 20 seconds behind him. But it's doable, because it seems that the early pit stop of Alberto John Frest maybe just left him out in the green because his tires might be done now.
Yeah, that's a big advantage that Steve has with the new tyres with only half an hour left to go, that he's going to be able to, he's going to have a lot more fresh rubber over Jean Frest, enabling him to do that sort of lap time. Whether he can keep that lap time up, we will soon see, as we'll go on board with him now. Well, let's actually jump in the driving seat with him and see how he's managing with these conditions at the minute. A lot of understeers he goes in and put on there. That's the damp track of what these guys are having to struggle with at the minute. But doing a great job, as you can hear the aquaplaning as he hits the puddle there. Not using nowhere near the amount of curb that we saw them use during qualifying. They're not going to gain much grip out on the curbs and the white lines. See, giving the curbs great respect there on the inside. Just showing us there, trying to get traction down, how slippy it is out on these curbs. Our back marker up ahead there gives a little flash. It's the Aston, possibly of Tommy there, gets cleanly out of the way. Very good of him. That was actually Jucifer. Yeah. Small lift and even a gear change there through Blanchimont as we head up to the last chicane now. Still hard on the brakes. Much sign of a lock up there. Still understeer on, a lot of understeer on turning there as he goes for first for good acceleration and a real kick of oversteer as he comes out.
John Frest really feels the pressure now because just gained a few tenths in comparison to second to last lap. So it was a 26 by John Frest in the last lap and a 26 by Strelo. So Strelo is now even a second faster than John Frest. So he's doing a good job. And Takamaki also improved his lap time. He just posted his fastest lap of the race with a 26.1.
Yeah, it'll be hard for Takamaki to catch up, but we'll definitely see Strelo for sure. It's 1/2 a second. I mean, if Takamaki can keep that pace up, I mean, there is time for him to catch up. There definitely is enough time. It's whether Jean Frest is going to be able to respond to these guys when he sees the sort of pace that they're taking out of him. Because, you say, Steve's taken about a second a lap out of him, and while at that sort of pace, you know, he's going to have a good 20 minutes to make his way, to try and find his way past. But Fabian very well said earlier, it's catching someone and passing one are two very different things, and it'll take some good strategy and clever placement of the car to actually get the pass done. We'll jump on board with Jean Frest now and see how he's finding the conditions. So he's obviously not finding that he's got quite as much grip as these other guys, which is quite possibly due to the fact he had a lot earlier pit stop. It's not helping that he's just getting held up by his back marker at the minute.
Yeah, totally. Should have cost at least half a second, maybe a full second. So that was a 27.5. And Strelo is driving faster and faster. That was a 24.9 by Strelo. So he's gaining quite a lot of time. He was 2.5 seconds faster than John Frest in the.
That's incredible.
With this rate, he will really get on the top of John Frest in just about three laps, I guess.
Yeah, that back marker really didn't help him that lap. As again for Takamaki, again he is also another 3 or 4 tenths faster than Jean Frest that lap around. But I feel Jean Frest was lost a fair bit to the back marker that time around, so this time we should hopefully see him get a bit cleaner lap in. And hopefully respond to these boys that are really starting to reel him in now.
So let's have a look at the other drivers too, so that they that they do get some of the stream coverage too. So we got Nico Nellis in a great 4th place. I don't know if he has to pit, but I think he already pitted. Then we got Woditska, who definitely pitted in 5th place. He is at the moment 19 seconds behind Nellis, so this will be tough. It will be tough to catch him, but at the moment he is 3 seconds. Then the next guy in 6th place, the only one in the Jaguar, Thiago Gouveia. He's currently another 20 seconds behind Nellis and 20 seconds behind Woditska. So there won't be really won't be changes in these last few laps, except for when one driver does make a mistake. The next guy is Marco Winkler, who is in 7th, and he gains a lot of time, at least in the last lap. He gained 1.5 seconds to Thiago Gouveia. So he may catch him because he's only 6.1 seconds behind Gouveia. That might be exciting in the last few laps. The 8th position with the only Audi, Nicolas Rage. He is currently 25 seconds behind Winkler, so maybe we'll get a chance when Winkler does a mistake, but 25 seconds are quite a huge gap, so he might settle to just take the 8th place. Then the next driver, Benny Benzel, who started on 3rd position with the wet, is now in 9th, and he is posting the same lap times as Nicolas Rage, but he is 1 second behind him, so there's quite a battle between them. Then the next driver is Tommy Kayo Kuyala in 10th position. He's 7 seconds behind Benzel, and it seems like that he might gonna catch them in the next few laps because he's a little bit faster. Oh, sorry, I looked at the wrong driver. Actually, he's exactly as fast as the drivers in front of him. So it might be a stretch to think that he might gonna catch the guys in front of him. But who knows? The guy in 11th position, Marcel Richter, he bit in no man's land. Oh well, on second side, Lucifer is behind him with 4 seconds, so this might get exciting the last few laps. Then have a look at Lucifer in the end. He is currently 5 seconds behind Richter, and he is currently lapping 2 minutes 32 seconds and 8 tenths in the last lap. Then the next guy in the list is Ray Taylor in 13th position with the Lambo. The only Lambo today, at least the only Lambo that I don't know if there have been other drivers at the start of the race who drove the Lambo. So after Ray Taylor there is Fernando, but he is really in no man's land. He's 63 seconds behind Ray Taylor, and I actually can't see the driver behind Fernando Silva, so he is really in no man's land. Then the driver behind Silva is Anthony Beninate. He looked strong in the first few laps, but he might made a mistake, or maybe he got taken out. So that is him in 15th position now. The driver behind Beninate is Dinish with the Ferrari, and he is also a bit in no man's land. He is 25 seconds behind Beninate. So not much to take there, and he is also the last driver who is still alive in this race. So that was the whole grid in its current state.
While we're having a look through all the other drivers there, we seem to have missed something out front because Steve is
really?
in P1 and he has got a 10-second gap, is it almost, over Jean Vresse. So I feel that Jan Vest has probably
Yeah,
made a
the gap
mistake
is
here.
six. Yeah, it looks like that John Frest made a mistake. Too bad that we didn't catch that. So sorry for that, guys. But we have to take a look at the back markers too, so that they don't get upset. And Takamaki might gain some seconds to John Frestner. So like that, John Frest's tires are now gone. So the chances that he makes more mistakes are now rising. And it's also still raining lightly, so this might be a little factor too. Because if you have really worn tires on a not so grippy track, this will make you spin very easily.
Yeah, more like running slicks if they're heavily worn wets. And then, like you say, he's been running them for quite a long time now, Jalfrest, and this is maybe what we're starting to see these errors starting to come in. His lap times really started to drop as, yes, his last lap time was a 2 minute 34. It's almost 10 seconds off the guys around him. I mean, sure, we were probably going to see Steve make the pass at some point with the pace difference he had over him, but it was it's a shame to see Jalfrest lose out in that way. Takamaki, the guy in third now, is this will really he'll see Jan Vest coming back to him all of a sudden. This will really inspire him on to find some more lap time, as he's really sort of matching Steve now almost for his lap times. So it's a shame these guys just aren't that little bit closer on track, because we could really see a great fight between these two. Takamashi doing a great job in the Porsche here. It's not one of the easier cars to handle in the wet, I guess, with the engine right out the back there.
Yeah, I guess it's also already really hard to control in the dry, but the wet is a totally different situation. So this might be a bomb on four wheels, actually.
So also see that Nico Nellis struggled on that last lap. His last lap was also 2 minute 34.2. So I wonder if he's also had an off there in that last lap. Though I do think there is quite a gap between him and P5 man Vodkica.
Oh no, the gap just disappeared. The gap. There's still a gap, but it's only 2.5
oh no,
seconds.
that gap has jumped right down. So this is an opportunity here, really, for Vodkica to get this P4 off Nico late in the race. I'm going to jump on board with Vodkica.
It's gonna look like the fastest driver of these two in the last few laps, so he might take the spot and get the 4th position.
Definitely with the possible mistake from Nico, we'll be a bit nervous not to make that again, so just struggling to bring the pace back up to the pace that they've already been setting over the last few laps.
And there's another battle coming to us with sixth position driver Thiago Gouveia and Marco Winkler, who is just 2.5 seconds behind Gouveia. So this might get a bit interesting in the next. So
yeah, as Winkler
did a 29.9 and Winkler a 28.7, so he is 1.2 seconds faster.
As Vodkica really closed up on the back of Nico here.
Look at this.
Sorry, you cut up a little bit there.
Quite evenly matched. Wenzel is already stuck behind Rage for a bit, and we just missed that. So now Benzel has to look for mistakes. Oh, this is a mistake. just as we switched to Benzel and Rage did a mistake by going wide at Blanchimont on the and going on the AstroTurf, which is still quite slippery in these conditions, and he just spun out. So that's Benzel in 8th position.
As we've also just missed, Vodika has made the pass on Nico as well. So that's 2 guys making positions up in these last closing minutes of the race here. Sorry we didn't catch your suggestion there, Fabian. You were cutting out. I was struggling to hear what you were saying. I do apologise for that.
Oh, sorry for that.
So just going to jump on board with Mackie here, because it's really starting to really reeling this gap in continuously here.
Yeah, he's at the moment he's as fast as Strelo. He's posting the same lap times, and he is 6/10 faster than John Frest at the moment. John Frest just got a gap of 4 seconds behind him. But at this rate, Takamaki might get him at the end of the race. So
yeah.
It really looks like that Alberto John Frest is struggling for grip with these old tires, because he pitted so early. So this was one of the pit stops we sadly missed because of these technical issues. So that pit stop would have been at around the 30 or 40 minute mark, so quite early into the race. And if we have a short look to Strelo, he is currently 13.5 seconds ahead of John Frest. So he's really great in these conditions. If from just like Sebastian Vettel in his Red Bull years, in the years between 2010 and 2013, it really looks like that this is Steve's perfect distance to just be in front in clean air and drive away. He's really good at that.
Yeah, you can't argue he's really bounced back well after the early mistake. He didn't let that phase him, and he quickly made those positions and that time back up and got himself back out in the lead, and really got himself down to a good stint after that little early mistake early on. And even though after the pit stop he found himself in P2, he had the fresh tyres, he was really able to make use of them and get himself back up into that P1 position. As we're on board with Tiago here. As
Steve just posted the fastest lap of the race, so he doesn't want to relax in this position. He just wants to push and push further. He just did a 24, which is
it's a remarkable time in these conditions, and he doesn't really need to either. That's right. I mean, he doesn't need to do this right now. He's got such a comfortable lead, but I feel that confident with the car beneath him that he's able to just keep pushing on and maybe find that actually keeping that sort of pace up is able to keep his concentration, because it's very easy when you're out front and you've got yourself a nice gap to let your concentration waver slightly, as we see Tiago really struggling for traction here as the Porsche of Winkler is really starting to close him in on this lap. He's taken about another half a second out of him this lap around, as they now head up the back straight towards the Blanchimont and the last chicane. Last chicane being one of the areas where definitely you could see a pass. It's a heavy braking zone as you come up to the chicane. I don't think he's going to be close enough this time around. The gap has gone out to about 1.3, 1.4 seconds, but it's definitely been a gain across this last lap, which we'll see their lap times as they now come across the line. And, Tiago last time round 28.6, where the following Porsche Marco Winkler was at 28.1, so it's about a half-second gap that last lap around. we're definitely going to keep an eye on this. This is the closest battle at the minute. As Tamamaki was still able to take a rather large chunk out of Jean Frest. If we jump on board here, you should see that from Tamamaki's view, he can definitely see Jean Frest up ahead of him now. That's really dangling the carrot in front of him. It'll really spur him on to hopefully find some extra pace along these last 10 minutes. He's definitely got the time to get past him. And whether he'll be able to will be another thing. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll see what times they do as they come across the line this time around. It's definitely improvement for Jean Frest this time around with a 26.5, but Tamamaki was able to do a 2:24.9 there. So it's a second and a half a lap he's taken out of him. That sort of pace difference, you seem to think that Jean Frest really isn't going to have any answer for him when he catches him. I really don't think he'll be able to keep the Porsche of Tamamaki behind him. He's going to lose out from being in P1 there for a little while. He's going to find himself down in P3 just purely down to that early pit stop that looked early on to be the good choice to have made. Gonna jump back over with Tiago now as Winkler is really seeming to closing in again. Well, that gap down to just under half a second now.
Yeah, that's the battle we just predicted a few laps before, and now it's coming at our screens, and we see that that Marco is conservative in Blanche because he really lifted, and I think he also braked there, which is quite unusual. But I might not look at it rightly. So, and Winkler just passed Gouveia because Gouveia lost a lot of grip on the exit of the chicane. So Marco just got in front of Gouveia. He should be faster than Gouveia, but maybe Gouveia can stay in his tail.
That's it, he made it very easy there for Marco in the end. Just a really poor exit off the chicane, just not able to get the traction down, and Marco was able to just breeze past in the end. Which,
maybe he also got under pressure from Marco there. So
that's it.
Pace, that was a great mind games by Marco. And now we only got a 1 second gap from Takamaki to Jean Frest. So this battle is unfolding in the next few laps. But
yeah, we jump on board with Takamaki now. You can see this gap is just visibly getting smaller and smaller every lap. We'll jump on board with Takamaki now and see how it is on board the Porsche at Rouge and Radion.
The remaining time might play a factor in this battle because there are only 7 minutes left in this race, and if Jean Frest is good at defending and defending wisely, he may be holding off Takamaki there. It just depends if the Porsche is fast on the straights than the Bentley, then Jean Frest might have a hard time there. But if the Bentley is faster, then Jean Frest has got a chance there.
That's it, that Bentley is a real monster in this straight line, where the Porsche is probably better on the tight twisty sections, but it's getting close with the Porsche to make use of the where the car is at its best. As you can just see there that the front end grip that Takamaki has got is so much better.
The Bentley seems to struggle for grip with these, because the Porsche is still on his tail and a little bit gaining enough. but the Porsche also seems to just doesn't want to risk the third place, and Alberto just spin a little. He had a little bit of wheel spin there, but that might not be enough for Takamaki to pass John Frest.
Yeah, even with that snap of oversteer there, you could just see the gap extending out to Jean Frest in front with that straight line speed that the Bentley has. It's not going to make it easy for Tamaki, but he has shown the pace difference.
And John Frest are battling all by Oru, Rage and Tommy Kaido Kuyala. Rage just backed up a bit to not go too wide through Orouge, because that is quite hard, especially if you can't trust the other drivers. But we still have an eye on the between Takamaki and John Frest, and that
gonna
is
go on board.
John Frest got a little bit of understeering, and this is why he had to lift his gas, and that's why he didn't straight. So that was quite an easy task for Takamaki, and maybe he also forced John Frest to this arrow, because these have been quite a few tough laps for John, because he knew that Takamaki So do we still have any battles left? So Strelo just passed Tommy Kayo Kuyala. Or I should say that he lapped him, and he is 20 seconds ahead of Takamaki. So he is in a quite a safe spot. Takamaki is just is behind him, and John Frest but he will lose a lot of time now because his tires are done. So he won't gain on Takamaki. Then we got 4th place with Libor Wodicka in the Ferrari, and he is in no man's. Then the next one, Marco Winkler, who just passed Gouveia a few laps ago. Then we've got Gouveia, he is still behind Winkler. The next one is Spencer. He is 9.3 seconds behind Gouveia, so he won't get Gouveia unless he makes a mistake. And Spencer also, oh no, just had a wrong idea there. So Nicolas Drages seems to he was lapped now by Strela, and he seems to be getting ahead of Tommy Kuyala, and has already a nice gap of 3.5 seconds. So Kuyala is 9th at the moment. Then we've got Jucifer, who is in 10th position at the moment, and he is also in no man's land, so we just got not many battles left there. The field has spread out a bit. 11th place is Nico Nellis, followed by Ray Taylor. 13th position is Marcel Richter. 3 seconds behind him is Fernando Silva. And Marcel Richter just did a mistake in the last lap, because he had a lap time of 2 minutes and 59 seconds, which is 30 seconds slower than you should usually lap around Spa. So maybe Silva is gaining on. Yes, it does. Silva is actually passing Richter right now. So that was an easy pass for Silva. Then the next guy in our list is Anthony Bennet, who is 5th. And then our last driver is Ryan Dinage, who he just spun in Eau Rouge. What a shame. He lost his car there. But that doesn't change much at the results because he's already in the last position. So, and we are now in the last lap of the race. The last lap of 90 minutes racing hard in Spa-Francorchamps.
Oh, as we find there's been an incident down at turn 1 that Steve has narrowly misses as he comes around there. I don't know quite who that was. Possibly Silva, was it?
I think Marcel Richter was involved, and maybe Fernando's.
Yeah, that was not what Steve expected or wanted to find as he started the last lap of what has been a very hard, challenging race for him. But he has managed to avoid that, and also I did quite catch that there was a McLaren just off the side of the track at Blanchimont as he came flying through here and narrowly missed that car as well. So just missing some cars at the minute with a few of them making last-minute mistakes. Steve having a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment as he comes around his last lap. With about half a lap to go now, we'll just sit back and enjoy watching this lovely Lexus go around the beautiful track of Spa-Francorchamps. Through Pouin here as he catches one of the back markers up, and there's actually contact with one of the back markers. Steve is not having a very pleasant last lap here as he's coming around to try and finish this long hard race. There's something we'll definitely need looking at for the stewards. They will definitely be busy with this one tomorrow, but at least our leader hasn't taken any damage or loss of control on the final lap of the race. Okay, now onto the last stretch up towards Blanchimont and the last chicane. In the although he's right at the end of the race, he's still managing to post his fastest times, with the last lap being a 2:23.5, which I do believe is the fastest lap of the race from anyone by far. It's a good
yes, it is.
second a lap faster, I believe, than anyone else has managed to put in. I don't think he'll be improving that this time around, though, with that lap. But a great job there to Steve Strello, as even after an instant he was able to bring that one back. And also likewise to Tamamaki, who's really fought back over the last sort of half an hour of this race to take home P2. We go over to Jean Frest, who fought really hard with the early pit stop. He really tried hard to keep that position, but unfortunately he lost P1 and P2 to the other guys, but still a good podium finish from him. As we go on board with Vodica, still got about half a lap left to complete. Still also setting his fastest laps of the race at the 2:24.4 on the last lap. Managed to keep himself out of trouble so far. Last time through Blanchimont, giving the curbs great respect there. Up through the last chicane, a good finish by Vodica. On to P5, Marco Winkler. Get that right in the Porsche.
Yeah, Winkler was right.
We go on board from the last times. Just enjoy some of this Spa circuit from the driver's perspective. You see the fireworks going off in the background there. I bet this has been a real hard race for some of these guys. They've done really well to bring this home.
Winkler and Thiago Gouveia, who just, if my recordings are correct, did his first race. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, that was not correct. Sorry. Ozzy Takamaki actually did his first race in this championship, and he that's quite a nice surprise.
Yeah, it's a good result. I think most of these guys now have finished. We just follow these last couple of guys around. There's Yusufa here. Lovely sounding Aston Martin.
So do we still have someone who has to finish it? I think most of them are through.
Yeah, I just wonder if Yusufa is still on a lap here. He still needs to be pushing pretty quick here.
Yeah, you're right. So going through the last corners of Spa-Francorchamps. Really don't want to mess anything up that you just worked so hard for in the last few minutes and the last few hours. So he's taking it quite safe now because there's no danger behind him and he can't gain anything in front of him.
Still not hanging about though, with his last lap not being far off as fast as he's still clear through Blanchimont there. He was still pushing as it really was squirming midway through Blanchimont as he goes straight into the pits.
Oh, so he
And
actually finished
yes,
already.
yes, he had. We were just watching. Well, I enjoyed watching the Aston go round there. Thank you guys, and sorry for some of the technical issues we had during the start of the race. We shall see you again. It's goodbye from me, and goodbye from Fabian.
Yeah, goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Was a nice race, although we had some technical issues, but I still think that it was worth it to still commentate on this race because it was quite nice in the end.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be back, and things will be a lot smoother next week. So thank you and goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.